want to get down below them and let them come to you.
Right on the nose, Bobo. Get it perfect.
That worked good giving Bob the microphone first.
See, yeah. Oh, we got soul.
Soul man.
One of the things that I learned from somebody a lot older and wiser than me is that if I'm on a line and I'm actually marking fish, I will circle the fish, but I'll shut my engine off and drift down and then put the anchor down. If that doesn't work, then what you do is you look for the right hook and you anchor in front of it. And you will pretty much catch it.
Don't let him pass, though.
I got to agree on these last three gentlemen that just spoke, because they hit it right on the nail, all three of them.
Yeah, I agree too, but we don't look for the right hook though.
I would have expected Barry to say something different since he's so much a Delta Channel narrow waterway fisherman. I was kind of hoping for something else there. But,
Bob hit it.
all right, questions? Way in the back.
When fishing with kids and adults, what do you bait-wise, what do you figure, and how much and what time?
Okay, when fishing with kids and adults, what do you figure bait-wise and how much? Let me ask you this. What are you fishing for? Kids and adults both fishing for sturgeon?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the derby tomorrow where you want the kids to catch a fish?
Well, tomorrow we know what kids are fishing with, but
Yeah, see, if you want the kids to catch a sturgeon, you're going to fish the same thing the adults are. Tomorrow, if you want the kids just to catch anything so they can get in a drawing for a prize, I'm going to rig all my kids up with, like I said before, small little 3 or 4 odd hooks, and either like 1 or 2 grass shrimp or a piece of power. I'm not going to put any eel with it because the eel will turn away a lot of these fish sometimes. Just a straight bait like that. If I want the kid to catch a sturgeon, me personally, I'm going to put them on eel and grass shrimp. Is what I'm going to put them with one of my double hook rigs. Speaking of double hook rigs, I think everybody, Linda contacted everybody. If you want to see what kind of leaders we use and what we use, we all kind of have our own little methods and styles there. You know, feel free to come up and look at the kind of leaders we use. I brought mine. I've been using my same leader for like, I don't know, 15 years.
Same hooks, too. Gotta change them out.
The tips are getting real short from sharpening all the time. No, it's the same style, So after we break this up, you can come up and take a look at what kind of leaders we use. But to answer your question, in my respect, is that's my answer for up here.
what amount grass shrimp wise for?
What amount?
Yeah.
You know, that's a good question because I really don't know the answer. I personally put as many grass shrimp as I can get on there. You have to see the rig I set up, though. I don't use the full hook.
No, I'm saying per day. You figure a quarter or a quarter.
Oh, how many? Well,
Pound,
I'll say probably how many people on the boat?
4.
4. If everybody's fishing grass shrimp with the rigs, I'd probably go minimum ½ pound, probably a pound. Of course, the bait shop will tell you probably about 1.5 pounds.
I actually witnessed a person tying on his grass shrimp.
Oh yeah.
I won't mention no name.
William Odom witnessed a person actually using the magic thread or something to tie on a grass shrimp on your hook. Maybe he fishes one shrimp at a time. I don't know. I believe in scent, natural scent. So I put a lot of bait on mine. I want a lot of bait, and I let it milk out for a while, then I change it, I load it up again. Because you want a lot of scent going out there. These fish are on smell. I mean, that's their number one sense is Captain Don, because he's always contrary to me.
You know what? I'm going to go with. I always learn. You know, if it's grass shrimp, £1/4 pound a person. Some guys that I used to work for, they were cheap, and they were like, once you got past 6 grass shrimp, sit down. So everybody's a little different, but I mean, for me, I like to use bait, and I tend to buy bait pretty heavy, and that's just me.
Me too. I buy a lot of bait. The reason I buy a lot of bait, I don't want to run out. And it depends on what you have what you're fishing for, or where you're at, because you have a lot of bait stealers, and hey, you can go through a quarter-pound of bait per person in just 10 minutes. Just depends on what's out there. If you got crabs biting, they're going to tear you up. So I take the 6 people out. I might get a good 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of grass shrimp, so I don't run out. You don't want to do that, that's for sure. And keep changing the bait like you're talking about for the scent.
To me, it all depends where you buy your grass shrimp. One bait shop that we support is you'd have to buy a pound to get a quarter of a pound of somebody else's. So that has a lot to do with it. The other thing, we're big on the brine ghost shrimp. And with that, all your ghost shrimp that you buy, at the end of the day, instead of throwing it away, you put it in brine. And it's a special formula that we use. And it'll last up to 5 weeks long. And it's tough. You don't even have to tie it on. And that's a big plus in our business anyhow. And it works real good, and it's scented at the same time.
I have a question. What is hold on. Go ahead, finish. I'll get back.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I fish a lot more lines than these guys do, but we figure a 1/2 pound of grass per person and probably a dozen ghost shrimps per person per day. That's when you start using single hooks, you can cut those numbers down in half. I mean, once we started going to just all single hooks, we cut our bait deals down quite a bit. But it also depends on the time of year. Summertime, late spring, typically the bait starts getting real small when you start having to put 6 shrimp on a hook and things like that. So you have to drop your hook sizes down, things like that. And sometimes, just to get a quarter pound of decent bait, you'll have to buy a pound. That's just the way it is.
When I'm fishing a full bow, I'm fishing 8 lines roughly. I'm buying this time of year a quarter pound of grass shrimp. The fish all, I'm fishing 5 of those lines with grass shrimp and eel in a combination, fishing a rod or 2 with ghost shrimp. During the warmer months, got more stripers, kingfish, water's a little more brackish. You get trash fish, so we go through a little more grass. But I found just using a single hook, I get just as many bites using a single hook than I do with a double hook. Couple pieces of grass shrimp, a chunk of eel, you're good to go. I'm fishing on maybe a quarter pound the last 2 days per day. Fishing 5 rods of grass shrimp and eel, single hooks. So it's real efficient. Size 5/0 hooks on those too, real small.
He's known to be very cheap, but you know what? He don't run out though, so he got it down pat. But this time of year, we are fishing smaller hooks. Something about the fish, they don't want to pick up the big hooks. I don't know what it is. Maybe just, I don't know. Quarter pound of grass shrimp per person if we're fishing grass shrimp per se. Everybody fishing grass shrimp. If not, it's probably a dozen ghost shrimp and a 1/2 pound of grass shrimp. That's what I do for my, I'm sorry, let me go back. 3 dozen ghost shrimp and a 1/2 pound of grass shrimp I normally get on the day when we go out with 4 to 5 anglers. And do not forget your eel. Always have an eel, because you know you're always fishing when you have an eel on your line. You know that the crabs aren't going to take it unless they're real bad, then they will take it. But you're always fishing when you got eel on there. They may get your shrimp off there, they're not going to get your eel. So buy some eel. And by the way, I bought my bed with Curtis. Curtis takes real good care of us.
I'm sorry, I keep missing you over here. My peripheral vision isn't that good. Question?
First one is, who won last year? Anybody here? Who won last year?
Who won last year? The winner last? I don't know. I don't have the list with me. We've got it documented on a piece of paper. Is the winner here that won got drawn last year for first place?
It's on the plaque in the bait shop also.
Oh, it's on the plaque in the bait shop. That's one thing. And Linda's got it.
Ross Mueller.
Oh, he wants to know if they're here so he can be on their boat. Sturgeon. Okay, let me tell you about sturgeon fishing though. How many times have you heard the bite is on inside buoy 4 in shallow water, and you go the next day and you fish all day and you get nothing? I've caught fish inside buoy 4 next day and fish it all day and get nothing. I mean, it's sturgeon or they're the most unpredictable fish you're going to target. They're very difficult to catch in that respect. So I take, when I hear a fisher here, they've been biting, and I chase the rainbow and I run over there, and I can't tell you how many times they're disappointed because they're not biting the next day. Yeah, I like to find fish and sit on them and hope they go. It's not like other species. You got another part?
How big of a piece of eel do you put on the hook?
How big of a piece of eel? That's a good question. That's mine's really weird how I do it, but I'll start with Don again.
How big a piece of eel you put on the hook?
The whole thing.
Definitely not the whole thing. And you know, for me, I have to be honest with you, I don't use a lot of eel. Part of that is because much of where I fish is going to be San Pablo Bay and the South Bay of San Francisco Bay. So a lot of times for baits and things, if I've got herring spawning, I want herring, you know. I just use a small strip, a couple inches, and that seems to work for me. So I'm going to defer to my other partners there.
I'm with Don. I use very little eel. Sometimes you use a whole herring threaded on. But as far as eel, no. Barry can answer that question more than I can.
We use quite a bit of eel, depending on the size of the eel. If you get some of the big stuff that you want to pay $45 from Keith for, then we use about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and then we split it in half. Most eel we're getting now is pretty small, and I'd say we use about 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the round, or split it and turn it inside out and put it on. And but you know, it all depends what you get, because you can buy eel from $12 up to $45.
Same thing, I use a lot of eel. One thing that I found out is the eel will work better when the water gets really, really muddy. It works really good for us in, and also it works well when it's all milked out. When it starts to fade, some of the best chunks of eel that we've had on, the hottest leaders, are probably using eel that's been fished all day long, all milked out. The last thing you want to look at as far as bait, but it still works. And then we just reuse it. We put it in a plastic bag with the other chunks, use it and use it and use it. It's probably the worst thing that ever happened to the bait shop.
I agree with the rest of the guys up here, but as for, I use a lot of eel. I catch a lot of fish on eel. You have to have confidence in it. My eel, when I cut it up, I get myself a Tupperware container from Dollar Store, wherever it may be, something cheap. And sorry guys, I'm not really cheap, but I'm gonna take my eel and I'm gonna cut it in only 1 inch chunk, and I'm gonna cut it in the rounds. The eel that we're getting now, it's only maybe 1 inch thick, just about 1 inch or so wide. Cut it in rounds. Put it through your hook once, like you would a pork rind. Let your hook it, leave it exposed, no problem. They're not hook shy. Cast it out. That's perfect. More than enough bait to catch a fish. So depends how you approach it, but it doesn't matter. As long as you have some on there, I think you'll be successful.
Yeah, I concur with the smaller chunk of eel. Also, you put the eel, we usually put a little grass shrimp on top of it just to cover the shank of the hook, and then put the eel. Just hook it one time, hook it more than once, it's going to spin, it's going to just tangle everything up. Just hook it one time. Don't thread it on like you would a night crawler or something like that. Just hook it one time. It's like rattlesnake. It's not going to rip out. It's going to stay.
I'm going to say a few things about eel because you all remember the mitten crabs. When the mitten crabs came on scene, that's when eel got popular. Mitten crabs back then in our waters, you cast out and they were all over your bait and it was gone in no time. Fish and Game, I found out, was using pieces of the eel to do long line to catch sturgeon overnight and stuff. So I thought, and that's kind of how it came about. The crabs, those mitten crabs, couldn't tear it up. What I do is I take, like Jay, I'll take an eel and I'll cut like a 1 inch section like you're cutting a hot dog. I'll take a threader, one of those anchovy threaders, and I'll thread it down my leader and it stops right in front of the hook. I either put a plastic bead there or a little tiny weight, less than 5/8 of an ounce or a half inch, whatever it is, or a half ounce, whatever it is. And it sits above the hooks. It's always there. When we first started using eel, I don't know how long ago that was when the mitten crabs came on scene, we started using it.